Hello, and on this video we're going to be discussing how impossible the position of the atheist is when they say God did not create and they deny all deities. The God of the Bible, all of them. To say an intelligent being did not create life is based on fantasy. It just doesn't work. Atheists cannot even get the first living cell by chance. It is impossible. So atheism can't even get out of the starting gate. So let's begin and explain why real quick here. First of all, living cells cannot exist without the DNA which create them. Inside every living cell is DNA. And DNA cannot exist without the living cells. It's an all or none package deal. So without magic, atheists are not even going to get that first cell to begin with. And on top of this, cells cannot come into existence one piece at a time. Two pieces join and then they decide they just wait around for millions or hundreds of millions of more years until another right piece happens to come along and it just happens to find the location of these other fellows and attach itself. Okay, now the three of them are waiting for another piece to, to come along, the right piece, and then it has to fit in the exact sequence. And then the four pieces sit around and they wait millions and millions and millions of more years for another piece to come along. And then it, by chance, attaches itself just in the right order. It just happens to be the right piece needed. No! Bullshit! Atheism is based on fucking nonsense! This is ridiculous! But this is what you would have to believe, because your only other option, and I repeat, only other option is to say the entire cell functioning popped into existence all at once. And no atheist ever says this. I've never met one atheist yet that has said anything like this, that an entire living cell fully functioning just poof, now it was there. None of them say this. And it cannot be a piece-by-piece routine. This is stupid. A car doesn't run with just a carburetor. It needs all the other parts of the motor. It can't run with some parts. Every part has to be intact before the motor will run. It's an all or nothing conundrum. And atheism is full of conundrums that are a brick wall, boom, that absolutely stop atheism from even getting out of a starting gate. Yet atheism has the colossal gall to point their finger at Christians. Oh, well, you believe in magic. You believe in this magic man in the sky. Black magic. Ooh, you're a magic believer. They love this word magic. They're obsessed with it because they love to mock us, yet they don't see that atheism requires magic as well. Without magic, atheists, you're not getting the first cell. It cannot exist without the DNA, and DNA cannot exist without the cell, and the cell is an all or nothing deal. It isn't one piece at a time while the other pieces wait around for millions or hundreds of millions of more years until the right piece happens to float by in a pool of ooze. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Hey, come over here and join us. Boom! Now we have another piece. Okay, let's wait for millions of more years or hundreds of millions of more years until another just right piece that we're looking for happens to come by and attach itself in just a precise place it needs to attach itself. And this just keeps going on and on and on ad infinitum and bloody nauseum, one piece at a time until eventually we have an entirely complete cell. This is nonsense. No. It's an all or nothing deal. And you couldn't even get it anyway without the DNA. And you can't get the DNA without pre-existing life because it only comes from life. And you couldn't get DNA without the information to create the DNA, which only comes from DNA, which again only comes from life. But again, you cannot get this life unless you have the information. We can keep going on and on and on and on and on. It's a brick wall that atheists cannot get around. But let's be generous with the atheists, okay? Let's be generous. Let's say black magic somehow came into existence, although you have to explain that. The sky was really magical way back when, and let's throw in an entire functioning living cell for the atheist side. Let's be generous to them, okay? I'm going to throw in an entirely whole functioning living cell for the atheist camp, okay? I'm going to give that to them free of charge as a bonus to start their bullshit with. Okay, it still wouldn't work. Let me explain. Now you have a fully functioning living cell floating around in a pool of ooze or whatever the hell their stupid ass theory is today is that changes constantly. Now what happens? The cell would wait around for its death day, then eventually die off, and now you have nothing. Now you're starting all over again. A cell only lives days, mostly 3 days. Some cells up to 120 days. So there's a short life and there's a long life, and even the long life's not that long. We're talking days here. Months, not millions and hundreds of millions of years. It doesn't continue on and on and on and on, waiting for something else to happen by chance. No. A cell has to self-replicate within days or it dies. And now you have nothing, atheists. Now you're starting all over the beginning again, waiting for another cell to come. So let's throw in a second cell to be nice to the atheist once more. Okay, poof, now you have another cell to begin your bullshit with. Now, days later, or at the longest end, 120 days later, it dies off. Now you're starting all over again. Okay, we'll give you a third cell to be really generous to you. Same thing's going to happen to that too. They will keep on dying one after the next, just floating around until eventually they die, because they have to reproduce. And the mechanism which gives the cell the ability to reproduce comes from the DNA, which contains the information which gives the cell this ability. Never-ending conundrums. The atheist is fucked, to put it mildly. So, let's say the self-replicating mechanism didn't have to be from the information of the DNA. Let's throw an entire cell in like before, free of charge. We'll give that to atheists as a bonus. They have a complete functioning, whole living cell now in the beginning to function with. I'll throw that in there to their camp as a bonus. How long is it going to take for the complex, very complex self-replicating mechanism within the cell to come about by chance, random, pure luck of the draw, before the cell dies? And again, it only lives a matter of days. Death would come to the cell first, before any such mechanism would come for no reason at all, by pure freaking luck, chance. The cell would die off long before that. It would take millions and millions and millions, if ever, something like that would come about by pure chance and luck. Things don't happen by luck just because they need to happen. For example, if I lost one of my legs, is another leg going to appear just because I need one? No. I'm going to die with one leg. I'm not going to wake up some morning and see a leg starting to grow or have my whole leg back just because I need one. Because you need something doesn't make something happen. So just because a cell needs to reproduce, because we know it does, the cell doesn't fucking know it needs to reproduce. The cell doesn't know a damn thing. So atheists are expecting something to happen just because a cell needs something. Oh, well, a cell needs to reproduce, so we believe that it just happened by chance. The cell doesn't know it needs to reproduce. It doesn't know shit. So why would a cell start construction on something by chance to create some ability it doesn't even know it needs? This takes intelligence. An intelligent mind knows that a cell needs the ability to reproduce, but we're dealing with a stupid, thoughtless, unintelligent process that doesn't know anything. It doesn't know the cell needs to reproduce. So the atheist is trying to convince me that a cell that knows nothing, a thoughtless process that does not know what is needed at all, it doesn't know a damn thing because it's an unintelligent, thoughtless process, is going to start construction on abilities that it doesn't even know it needs for no fucking reason at all. This is what you have to believe, people, to be an atheist. Things that are absolutely needed are created by things that doesn't even need these things, that doesn't even know these things have to be created. An intelligence just happens to know exactly what's needed, builds what's needed, even though it doesn't know what's needed. For no reason at all. Okay, anyways. Okay, I'm getting off on a tangent there, so sorry about that. Let's get back to what I was saying anyways. Okay, so you have a living cell. It ain't going to form the mechanism because, number one, it doesn't even know what the hell it needs. It doesn't know it needs to reproduce. And number two, to have the ability to reproduce within the cell to come about by chance is impossible before the cell dies. It's going to die first. So now you have a cell that dies off in this pool of ooze or whatever they're calling it today, and you have nothing. Now you're starting all over again from scratch. So the first living cell could not even come into existence in the first place because it cannot exist without DNA, which creates them. And DNA cannot exist without the cells. And you can't get the DNA without life. And you can't get the life without the information, which creates it. So besides the fact that they're screwed anyways, again, I'll be nice to the atheists and I'll leave all those other conundrums out of the picture. And even if you do that and you give them an entire living cell as a free bonus to start their fantasy world with that they're living in, they live in the Matrix because this ain't science nor is it reality, it's bullshit. But anyways, we'll give them an entire living cell to start their bullshit world with, this Matrix crap that they live in. We'll throw that in as a bonus and we'll forget all the conundrums that prevent the fact that you can't have a living cell without all the other things mentioned. So now they have a complete living cell. It dies within a matter of days. Now they have no cell. Now they have nothing. So atheism cannot even get out of the starting gates because to get the first cell is impossible. And like I just said, even if you do get it, it's just going to lay around until its lifespan is over and then it dies off. Now you have nothing. And no matter how many times you wind up creating a living cell by chance, it's just going to keep doing the same thing. It's going to eventually die off within a short lifespan of days. It ain't going to happen. And even if it did not die off, it still ain't going to happen Now what do you have? You have a living cell floating around in a pool of ooze. Okay, big deal. That's all it is a cell floating around. It'd still be floating around today if you gave it endless life to where it never dies. It's just a cell endlessly floating around in a pool of ooze. It ain't doing nothing. It can't do anything. Atheism can't even get out of the damn starting gate. To believe in the religion of atheism, I would have to be, a complete nut job in a straitjacket. I don't have enough faith, enough stupidity, enough irrational and illogical thinking to be an atheist.